Hello, let's start the practice from creating the three cost centers. We are going to create a cafeteria cost center and then the maintenance department and assembly department. Remember, each of the cost center on the SAP, it will be defined as a secondary cost elements. So either place to accumulate the cost for that center, but they are not general ledger accounts. The transaction code is KS01 from the instruction file. And if you're looking for the manual path, it's located under accounting. Controlling, that's all of your managerial accounting functions. And then under cost center accounting, master data, cost center individual processing and create, because this is like a function, right? So like responsibility centers, so it's a kind of the master data. And so you can click on that. And the controlling area use NA, be careful, and then your own company code. I'm going to use a student company code. So, but use your own. I'm using 18, you use your own pound. So continue. Then we'll name the cost center first. I will call cafeteria. And then 018. So you replace with your own pound. And then valid from the beginning of the current year. So it's January 1st of 2024. So you can manually type or you can select from the calendar. Okay, make sure it's the first day of the year and then leave the end, the 2 as the default. Okay, you may wonder what's 99, like year 99 means. That's kind of the SAP format, so I can just leave it. And then click on enter to confirm. Oh, I think here. Okay, so I just to retype. Okay, I'm sorry. The cost center, okay, is CCCA, not the cafeteria, but cafeteria, that's the explanation. So CCCA, then pound. So cost center cafeteria, then 018 is mine. Okay, use your own code. And then click on enter to confirm. And click on the master data. And now the name will be the cafeteria. And they put a note for the company code. And the person responsible is required. You can just put your own name. And then cost center category, be careful, this needed to be H. And H, if you want to see what H means, you can click on the squares. So H means service cost center, because cafeteria, right, internal service. We have different type of cost centers you can build in under SAP. We have material, human resources. Okay, so you can identify the different type of responsibilities. So H, service cost. Then hierarchical area, and then this one use your, so N, then your company code, like 12, then your company code. So it's like related to the hierarchy of your company, okay, like even your subdivision. So N12, then your company code. And then the business area also use BI, okay, BI business, and then your company code. So it's already configured. So BI 18, and then currency USD. So the first cost center, we already can see the name. Okay, it's like kind of the name they will keep in the system, so we can identify it from the other cost centers. So CCCA, then 018 for mine, and then the name. So it's like a note, like a memo. Then people responsible, and then cost center category, hierarchical structure, BI, and then currency. And so we can save it. And the confirmation you have here, cost center has been created. Then you can exit and repeat this process for the next two cost centers. One is the maintenance department, and then the other one is the assembly department. The inputs already are listed in the inputs of the instruction file. So when you create, be careful. Okay, just repeating the same procedure as the cafeteria, but change the related data. And be careful about the cost center category, the age, and the hierarchical will be adjusted for the two other centers. In the instruction, the company code is 00, but you need to remember to change it to your own company code. Okay, every time you see the 00, and also the date, use the current year and the date, because instruction was made early, so it's put 2019 as the picture output, but you should have 2024 as the current time. No, so that's the step one. And then I will get on to step two. So create statistical key figure. This one is really some like the allocation base we are going to use to allocate the cost happens in the cafeteria later. Because for the cafeteria service center, we are going to allocate the cost among the three cost centers we are having here. So cafeteria itself has some employees, and then we also offer meal service to the maintenance and assembly, right? So when we teach and learn, we do these calculations on paper, right? So like, oh, I have the cost, I allocate between the number of employees. But in the SAP, we need to tell them, okay, how we are going to allocate the cost between different cost centers. So this one we call statistical key figures. And you can start from here. You can see the menu path. Okay, we can find out the transaction key later. So, but go to the controlling, still under the cost center master data, but statistical. So not the individual processing. So cost center, I'm taking back the individual processing. I'm looking here. So under the cost center accounting master data, we have the statistical key figures. Oh, this one, and the individual processing, and create. Oh, this is KK01. Or if you want to add it on the node, so KK01, and double click, and this statistical like the finger, all the allocation base will call employee. So like EMP, then your company code. So it's like number of employees you will find out later to allocate the cafeteria cost. And then on the following screen, so click on master data, okay, on the right corner or in the top. And we'll call a number of employees. Okay, so remind you what you are going to allocate. So the cost of the cafeteria, okay, by the number of employees from the different departments. And choose the number of person or number of the persons as the unit. So this one. So if you click on so number of persons is PRS. You can type it, okay, or you can find the explanation. That's a long list. So PRS, this one, so means number of persons. Okay, number of the persons, it can be employees or number of the other persons. So it's kind of average between the number of the persons. And leave the fixed value is selected. So we wouldn't change, right? So just depending on the number of the employees in each department. So it's creating a allocation base. Later, when we allocate the overall cost for the cafeteria cost, okay, so number of employees, and then now we can save. And exit. Then step 3, we are going to create the secondary cost elements. The secondary cost elements are related to each of the 3 cost centers. Again, because I created the cafeteria cost, so I will do that first, and then you can add the other. So means for each of the cost center, which secondary elements, cost elements, I want to track the total cost for that cost center. So for example, we have the cafeteria cost center. I will assign a numerical secondary cost element. So secondary cost element is not a general ledger account, but is a numerical account, help us to accumulate the total cost for the cafeteria. Okay, and after I finish the cafeteria cost element, then you can repeat the same thing for the maintenance and also for the assembly. So this one we start from still under the controlling. Okay, I'm taking back the cost center. And this time I'm going to click on the cost center accounting, still under master data, but choose the cost element where we have. So under the cost center account, okay, master data. Yeah, master data. Cost element, individual processing, and then added cost element. So added. And you probably already see, so why I have the same FS00 we used in financial accounting to create a new ledger accounts. So we have a same transaction code. So you are expecting to see this interface we're already familiar with. But here I'm not really creating a new general ledger account like a financial account. I'm creating a secondary cost element which we'll use to accumulate cost center cost and expenses. They are not really used for financial accounting reporting, is for cost control and allocation purpose. So let's name it using the, so I'm using 0. So follow the instruction on the, so 800 and then 018. So pound. That's not the one I mean. So it's a new account or new secondary cost element. So it's a new one. So even I'm creating the same way as a general ledger account, but remember this is not a general ledger account for financial accounting purpose. And make sure our company code is consistent. Okay, like 18, consistent. And for this one, we are going to start from a new template. Okay, not like from new, not create with a new template. So So we are going to define our, so GL account, this is secondary cost. And type on the name, I think the group is also secondary cost revenues. And then the name of the short test or even long test, okay, we can call, this is a short. And the long text, something similar. Okay, so plan assessment. So assessment is a word we use later when we allocate the cost of the cafeteria to the other two departments. So plan assessment. Okay, so assessment or allocation of the cafeteria cost. So this account is used to accumulate and allocate the cost for the cafeteria. And this is the, I think, the first screen, and check your inputs, okay, with my, always the one in the instruction file. And then on the tab, control data, we need to put the NA, let me see. The cost element category put 42 for the cafeteria cost is assessment. Because for different type of cost, internal cost, we use different process to bring them into the other cost centers. And for the cafeteria, we call assessment. So assessment, because cafeterias, they also share some of their own service cost, right? So cafeteria, we do have employees receiving our own service. So we call assessment. Then we also allocate the cost to other two departments. So assessment. And then create bank account. Okay, the other will, we use the field status ZSEC, a secondary cost element, or is a confirmation for what type of cost is this. And then enter, I think. And it's saved, and then you save. So data saved. So the first secondary cost elements related to the cafeteria we created. So later, when any type of expense happened under the cafeteria, for example, salary expenses, office expenses, they initially will record under your general ledger account under the expenses, like 74000 or 7 something for cost expenses. Those are financial ledger accounts. Then we accumulate, so we move those financial cost expenses under this 800 secondary. So like we add all of the primary cost expense for the cafeteria, okay, include your financial cost expenses, salaries, office, or utilities. So adding them together becomes the total cost related to the cafeteria department. So again, secondary cost element is not a financial ledger account, but is a numerical account. We accumulate and allocate the cost to other functions or other departments. Okay, use it for internal control and allocation. Then you can edit the GL account name to add 2 more secondary cost elements for the maintenance department and also for the assembly department. The inputs are already listed in the instruction file. So you have 810 and 820 for the other two departments. But be careful, their cost element category, both will be 43 rather than 42. Okay, so that's like, I believe is under the control data. here you need to change it to something else, 43. And 43, you can see those are the internal activity allocation. Okay, means we are offering the maintenance offering service to the assembly department. So it's not the same nature as assessment for the cost for the cafeterias, because all of the cost incurred under the maintenance will be allocated completely. In another word, so will be emptied to departments receiving their services. Okay, so SAP define the different allocation using different words. So assessment, internal activity allocations, and then they even have some like distributions for other cases. So I will leave you to complete the other two secondary cost elements.